2,
9.
Let us look on you with our own eyes. Hello, Star Wars fanatics. We have some in the room here, that's for sure. We got lightsabers going and everything. It's all crazy.
Lightsabers.
Welcome to the Countdown to 9 podcast as we
Three
work our way
lightsabers.
chronologically through the Star Wars universe. Today we're wrapping up the trilogy, the original trilogy, with another round table of talking heads to wax poetic about the final film of the original trilogy, Return of the Jedi. It's the third Star Wars movie I ever saw, so naturally it's episode 6. That's how these movies roll. Paul Preston here from the Movie Guys with my good friend and co-host Sean Blodgett of the trendy and magnanimous Creative Motion Entertainment.
What's going on? I got a lightsaber!
Yes.
We shouldn't. Who allowed that?
He brought him.
I brought him,
He
yeah.
brought him.
It's my
Let's
fault.
get to our guests. The Rise of Skywalker is just over a month away. You know, Sean and I are excited, but let's check in with the guests. To the intros. First up, we have an actor who has appeared on Star Trek, Voyager, close. It was almost Star Wars. CSI Miami and a little
Nice.
research showed. He also appeared in a web series called Black, which we reviewed at my website, themovieguys.net.
My man.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
and
Nice.
you know Justin Bowler?
Yeah.
Justin reviewed it for our site, and hopefully folks went to check that out, and will continue to after his appearance here today. And give me the last name, Daniel
Betances.
Betances.
Yes.
Great last
Yes.
name.
I'll get in close.
Love it.
I'll get in
Yeah,
close.
yeah.
Dan Betances.
Betances.
That's right.
So, hey.
Daniel Betances here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Hey, we have a real audience today, too.
Yay.
This is like incredible.
They're watching.
Yeah, one guy. You should applaud for real. You
Who
can,
says that wasn't him?
oh, that was him. Yeah.
Joining him as an actor who previously appeared with me on the movie
Uh-oh.
Showcast, and I could say he appeared in Less Than Zero and She's Out of Control, but really you know and love him from an Ewok adventure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise known as Caravan of Courage, and Ewoks The Battle for Endor, where he played Mace, the original Mace.
The original Mace.
The first Mace of the Star Wars universe, Eric Walker.
Hey! Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, as always. I am the OM, the original Mace.
Nice.
Yeah, sorry, Sam Jackson.
Oh,
Sorry.
wow. So you are Ohm. I was just going to, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, he beat me to it.
Some quick housekeeping. Please chime in your thoughts on everything we're talking about at themovieguys.net, at countdown9@gmail.com, and, of course, at countdown9 on all your social media nonsense. That's your Twitter, Instagram, etc., at countdown9.
So much.
Before we get to our spotlight film for the month, this close to the release of The Rise of Skywalker, I wanted to get the thoughts on the new movie from our guests. Have you watched all the pertinent trailers and done your homework, or are you trying to stay cold turkey, or what's your take?
I'm more of a cold turkey guy, just for me.
Okay.
But what I've seen, you know, I've given it a shot, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to see it.
What have you seen?
I saw the
first teaser trailer.
first teaser,
Okay.
and then that was it, though. I
Oh!
haven't seen anything beyond.
You haven't seen? Oh, wow.
You haven't seen the new trailer?
No.
Wow.
Ooh.
Oh, man. So you're
There's
missing a lot.
I am missing.
So
a lot.
you didn't see the D23 trailer
No.
as? Oh, I love that
Yeah,
one.
that one was a bit of a hype machine.
I
Yeah.
really love
Right
that
on.
one.
You're hyped anyway, though, right?
I am, man. Come on. I mean, it's anything Star Wars. I'm hyped.
Nice.
So
Of course.
Bring it.
Eric?
I've seen everything that's out there, of course. I'm a big Star Wars fan from, of course, back in the day. Who would have known 35 years later I'd be talking about it, right?
Right?
On the
Right?
Movie Guys.
That's right.
it.
But, yeah, I've
People are
seen...
done talking about the Deer Hunter franchise.
Right.
One and out. Star Wars still going. Talk about your
That's right.
70s movies that have legs.
Yeah, so, I
Squeal
mean...
like a pig, and that's it. That's
yeah.
It's Deliverance.
It's whoops.
Also,
You know, I
that
get my
franchise is over.
disturbing movies
Yeah.
mixed up.
Yeah. But I'm really excited. I think JJ is going to bring this home.
I hope so.
I think I have faith. I have
has to.
faith. He
I'm
does
nervous.
have to.
You know what makes me nervous about JJ is, you know, I think he's brilliant, but I also think he's brilliant at being the guy who asks questions and poses questions, and he
Right.
often isn't. He's often the guy like, "Hey, I got all these questions. You guys figure it out. I'll see you later. I got another series." You know, like
right.
so. The fact that he came back for this.
Yes.
And I know originally he was actually supposed to do The Last Jedi or whatever episode 8 was going to be under his, he was supposed to do that as well. And I guess there was some sort of conflict with schedules or something like that.
Well, in JJ's world, he's got a lot of conflicts. He's got a million things all over the place with his bad robot. But wow, I really think so. That last trailer, I'm sorry you missed it, but it's just it was a very emotional.
Yeah.
All right.
The trailer. I mean, I did a video where I did a reaction video. I decided to go ahead and chime in since I hadn't done one reaction video. So I actually filmed myself watching it, and I got so emotional when C-3PO talked about he wanted to take one last look at his friends. It's like I almost started bawling.
Yeah, man.
You're seeing a grown man cry here. So and I said to myself, you better not do something to C-3PO. That's what I kept saying.
Well, everybody's saying,
not.
the internet is alive with all kind of rumors, and I think the rumor currently with that is that they're gonna, wipe his memory and maybe get back to who he was when Anakin made him, because they did set. Man. Well, I always thought that was an interesting setup in the prequels. That they have that moment where is it Antilles, Captain Antilles, or no? It's what's his name?
Wedge.
No.
Wedge Antilles.
No. It's in the prequels.
Biggs.
I don't know. Whoever it is says, clean these droids or something like that. And erase that droid's memory, but they don't do anything to R2, which I always thought was interesting.
Porkins.
Yeah. Not Porkins.
No, it's Biggs Darklighter. I think. I think it is. I think he's right. But and that's okay, I mean, he is a droid after all, but it just was it was one of those. It makes you wonder what else they're going to do. Like I've heard some other rumors, and we could go on and on about rumors, and I'm okay to listen to some of them, and as long as it's not Mike Zero.
Oh my! I was just going
to
say,
it's not
is it Mike
him.
Zero? Yeah.
As long as he's not giving anything, because he throws everything in the kitchen sink, and the next thing you know, Palpatine would be coming back, and he'd be smoking weed. He's going to throw everything. On
The Last Jedi behind the scenes, they talk about him.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
They're in like one of the roundabouts. They're talking about the script and stuff. They're like, "Hey, I just saw we got zeroed." That's what they were saying. I got zeroed.
I'm thrilled to not even know who that dude is, by the way you're referring to.
And I was happy to get the trailer because he releases 3 videos a day talking about what's going to be in the next trailer.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, everybody's got to make money.
Yeah. That's true.
Is he making money, having opinions?
Well,
I don't know.
There's a few that are out there.
That might make money,
opinions,
sure.
Yeah.
Eric, how hardcore fan are you? Do you have tickets yet?
Well, let's just say that I'm going to be at a special screening in December, and the place is actually flying all of us to go there, including people that are in the Rise of Skywalker. So we're going to all watch it with fans in Dallas, Texas.
Oh,
nice.
Wow.
So, yeah.
God.
Holy cow.
I'm going to be there. Mike Quinn, who's Neen Numb, is going to be there. Mark Dodson.
So Neen Numb, the guy, Mike Quinn, knows Christian Simpson, who was on the show. Do you know who Christian Simpson is?
I don't know.
So he was on our show, and he was the stand-in for Hayden Christensen.
Wow.
Okay.
And he was also in Phantom Menace as one of the pilots, and he's also done a lot of voice. But he does some help with Lucasfilm. He helped them find, I think, Nine Numb. Was it Nine Numb? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. 6 degrees of separation, right? I mean, everybody knows everybody in this town. That's why my dad was always correct. Now I could admit it. Be nice to everybody. Cause, you never know who you're going to work with, right?
Yeah.
Mike Quinn, Mark Dodson, who plays Salacious Crumb, does the voice, and also he did the voice of Teak in the Ewoks: Battle for Endor. Felix Silla from Cousin Ed, and he also was some Ewoks in it. A bunch of us are all going down there.
How did Dallas land that? It seems like an LA thing. But
Yeah.
it's kind of cool that it's not.
Because the person doing it has order 66 toys. They have a toy store called Order 66 Toys.
Wow.
And it's the world's largest Star Wars only toy store. I just gave them a plug, so they owe me some money.
Nice. There you go.
Boom.
But they it's incredible. This toy store is nothing but Star Wars. It's like 5,000 square feet of Star Wars. It's like all of our dreams come true.
And do they have like all the old vintage stuff?
They have everything.
Plus, so
Vintage,
they have used
everything.
Stuff plus,
rare stuff, and they do a Facebook Live type of thing too, like a sale every week on Friday nights. And if you want to go find them, it's Order 66 Toys, and They're on Facebook, but they do every Facebook thing every Friday night, and you could get some really great deals.
Wow.
A few weeks ago, there was a couple things that you'd save a couple $100 on some of this vintage stuff if you bought it from them. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Does it matter where you see this movie? Like, I don't know what the theater's like where you're going, but I specifically picked ArcLight Cinemas here in LA because it's going to be great projection, great sound, and crowd control.
Yeah.
So is
I
that
think
how
it
you
matters.
do all the Star Wars movies? And
It needs to be an IMAX or some huge thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Great
For me,
sound.
I mean, I like going to the local theater. I live in Orange County, and I just like going to the local theater and seeing it with my wife and we may bring my daughter. We might see it first just to see how scary it is.
Right on.
How old is your?
Yeah.
She's 10.
I think it'll be okay.
I think she'll be fine. I mean, I took her to see Force Awakens, and she was what, 6 then? Was this? Yeah, about 6.
It's
And
nothing
every
else.
time she got scared, I just said, "You want a red vine?"
Just drags
the whole time.
I know
Yeah.
the Caravan of Courage, the monster, the Gorak scared kids.
Yeah.
I used to hear stories about
Yeah.
that. So
Well, I'm an ArcLight guy. I was like,
Right.
yeah,
There
absolutely.
you go.
That's the
Yeah,
way to go.
it's gotta be
because-
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You want that experience. You want to feel it. You want to see it. You want to just be
immersed.
enveloped by it without
Yeah.
dealing with too much nonsense. So that's how I am.
I
I will
did
not
see.
tolerate nonsense.
I will not.
I did go see Force Awakens in IMAX 3D.
Okay.
And, these movies are not shot in 3D. All of the stereoscopic work is done in post-production. But what was amazing and cool was the Star Destroyer in Force Awakens. There were a couple of shots of the Star Destroyer in 3D that's like, that's pretty cool.
yeah,
I'll see a movie a second time in 3D.
Yeah, no, not the first time.
yeah. I don't know about 3D. I'm just not a 3D type of guy.
Yeah.
I don't like I like IMAX though. So and
Yeah,
good
and
sound.
then when they combine the two, you're kind of stuck sometimes.
Yeah.
You want to enjoy the big screen. All right, well, let's get on to Return of the Jedi and do our patented recap. What do you say,
Yes.
Sean?
I think that sounds like a dandy idea.
It begins as the previous 2 Star Wars movies did.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Since the quagmire they found themselves in at the end of Empire Strikes Back, our heroes of the rebellion have had to lick their wounds, build new lightsabers, and formulate a plot to save their friend.
We figured it 17 different ways. And every time we figured it, it was no good. Because no matter how we figured it, somebody didn't like the way we figured it.
Our story picks up with Luke, Leia, and the gang saving Han Solo from the evil Jabba the Hutt, which they do, and there was much rejoicing.
And there was much rejoicing.
After they save Han, Luke sets off to complete his Jedi training with Yoda. Yoda lays a bum rap on him that Darth Vader is, in fact, his father. Then Yoda dies peacefully.
Peacefully, quietly, we'll enjoy it.
Luke is then visited by the ghost of Alec Guinness, and he learns he has a twin sister.
There is another.
Luke then joins the fleet where they learn about the new Death Star the Empire is building. And then they hatch a plan. The rebels have stolen an Imperial shuttle, so they're going to send a strike team led by Han Solo to destroy the shield generator on the forest moon of Endor near the Death Star. Then the rebels swoop in with their fighter ships while the generator is down and to destroy the Death Star, all the while never making Luke a very important part of the plan.
Not so much. Complications ensue, including the death of Princess Leia, only to find she's been rescued by the cutest, fuzziest teddy bear-like creatures that are also badass with a bow and arrow.
Luke skips off to face off against Vader.
Whew. Thank God. He was never a very important part of the plan.
But before he leaves, he tells Leia they're brother and sister. Here's a clip.
She's my sister and my daughter.
Or that might have been Chinatown, but either way, you get the point.
Han, Leia, and the rebel soldiers try to blow up the shield generator station, but it turns out the Emperor had foreseen their plan and they get captured. However, they are rescued by the Care Bears.
The rebel fleet arrives to do battle with the Imperial ships surrounding the Death Star, and Luke and Vader have an epic lightsaber duel.
Luke vanquishes Vader and becomes a Jedi. With his newfound power, he tosses his lightsaber aside and says, "I'm done."
Well, not surprisingly, seeing a Jedi who's ditched his lightsaber, the Emperor tries to kill Luke. But as Vader watches, he realized why he had been such an evil Lord of the Sith. Perhaps his shoes were too tight. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small.
And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day.
And so Vader saves Luke's life, giving the Emperor the shaft.
Shut your mouth. Luke helps redeem his father, the second Death Star is destroyed, and they all pose for a family photo.
Yay! That's it.
Family photo that grows with every special edition.
So,
Yes.
Where to begin?
where to begin? Okay, so for me, okay, so there's a lot to say about all of these movies, but on a personal note, this was one of the few movies I saw with my father, who has passed away, and it's a special movie because of that. However, even as a kid, I remember seeing Return of the Jedi in the theater. My father took me, and it was like this kind of big event, and I was ready, and I watched it, and I felt kind of, I liked it. I didn't not like it. Still loved it, but I didn't love it as much as Empire, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And in doing research for this, I realized that this was the first one that Gary Kurtz, who was the producer on both Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back, this was the first one he was not a part of.
That's correct.
And the sort of rumors about their relationship is that Gary Kurtz kind of kept Lucas in, I hate to say in check because it was his movie, but kind of kept him grounded in terms of, I think, as a filmmaker, and like, well, maybe this is too far. Let's not go that way. Let's keep this about people. That's nice that we have all these ships and all this stuff, but what's really happening with the people? And you see the focus of people, I think, in Empire, and not that you don't see a focus of people in this, but I do think it's shifted a little bit. This is the first one out of the original 3 to me that feels a little bit more kid friendly. And it feels, I mean, a lot of people argued that this was like really about toys. There was a big push about toys. Whether or not any of that's true, I don't know. But, I thought it was an interesting take. But on a personal note, it was a beautiful thing to go see it with my dad.
I saw it 6 times in the theater. It was amazing. We just did an Empire Strikes Back episode, and people talked about, I saw Empire 10, 20 times in the theater. And here I thought 6 was... I was doing great. Like, that was like the most I'd ever seen a movie in the theater.
Right.
6. All the Star Wars movies pretty much were seen in my hometown in upstate New York, the Oneonta Theater, which is now defunct. But it was a huge, beautiful screen, a big, echoey, cavernous place. It used to be a vaudeville theater, so the ceiling was way, way, way high up.
Yeah.
They walled off the balcony and put in a second theater. That's
Yeah.
like how they rolled back then. But it's where 6 times. And then I saw Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom 6 nights in a row. So that matched the same.
How did you see it 6 nights in a row? That movie terrified me. I love it, but
right,
Temple
exactly.
of Doom,
Yeah.
man, that was
The
rough.
price is right.
Paper route,
Come on.
Right.
I got that.
But that was the record up at the time for me, was 6 for Return of the Jedi.
What about you?
Right on.
Well, for me, this was my first Star Wars movie.
Oh, wow.
So for me, Return of the Jedi was the first time I had seen Star Wars. And I saw it in what excited me about it was the first time I went to a movie, and I got kind of freaked out for a second because everybody was cheering and clapping.
Yeah.
When the Star Wars thing, and everybody's like, oh, I go, wow, this is going to be a huge party. Wow, I love it. Yeah, Star Wars. And I immediately got you excited because the whole audience was into it. It's like, why haven't I seen the other ones, I thought, later.
Isn't that interesting that you had that experience? I mean, that was a lot of the reason why I took my daughter to see Force Awakens.
Okay.
Even though I was on the fence that she was, a little young for it, but I had never been to a movie. I don't remember seeing Empire or Return of the Jedi as a kid and the audience reacting that much. In Force Awakens, I mean, and I saw it in Orange County,
right?
And people were like, "No, Harrison Ford's on the screen." They're applauding as if he's sitting in the theater, and I'm like, "This is this is a unique cinematic experience.
Yeah,
It was, and you saw it 6 times. I think I beat you. I saw it 8 times that summer. So I kept going back and over again. I just thought the Ewoks were great. I thought, who wouldn't want to be Luke Skywalker? So I'd pretend like I could use the Force, and I'm a Jedi Knight, like my father before me,
And we've talked about this before. You also can't suddenly stop seeing it because in 3 months you can watch it at home.
Exactly.
Who knows when you'll see it
That's why you had to keep going back.
Right.
Although if you had friends who could get you a bootleg copy on VHS,
not back then. They
If
didn't. Did they have VHS back
83?
then?
I got.
Or was it Beta?
No, it was. Well, I had Beta
Right.
Empire, but around '83 was VHS. That was the real. It was when the battle really was happening with VHS
Right.
and Beta. There was someone in our neighborhood who did the bootleg movie thing. I mean, literally, you'd see these copies of the movies and you could see the video camera kind of pan, because they didn't have
They
pan
do
and
it
scan.
now.
And I had a copy of Return of the Jedi. I remember the first time we actually bought a copy of Return of the Jedi. I'm like, I can see the words. For
What's interesting is because we did the Ewok movie the year after Jedi came out,
Right.
so Of course, I knew what Ewoks were, and I was excited. I'm a part of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Pinch me. Am I living in a dream?
Gosh.
Yeah.
And you're like, at that time, I was also a teenager, so I probably, was a terrible person to be around at that time.
What teenager isn't really?
80s teen?
Well,
especially.
I remember. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
But what I was going to say is you were talking about the bootleg stuff, and the reason why I brought that up again was because at the time we were making the Ewok movies, you're behind the scenes, so you were around the people that work at Lucasfilm, the crew, and everybody like that.
Right.
They were wondering when it was going to come out on VHS, and at that time, George said he will never release one of his movies ever on VHS. You have to go see it in a movie theater because that is cheapening his movie. It's bringing it down to a really too low of a quality. And I was thinking to myself, well, I guess the Ewok movies are never going to be on VHS either, so we better record that when it comes out.
Wow.
And I just thought it would never happen. So it surprised me when it came on video because everybody up there said they were never going to be released.
Well, I mean, when
people
VHS and Beta were first on the scene, I mean, I don't know if you remember going to the video store at that time, but I mean, the video stores were the size of this room.
They were mom and pop stores.
They were small, and I mean, and it was expensive for them to purchase the videos because people weren't buying video, like mass consumers weren't buying videos, so they weren't making massive amounts of these videos. So in order for them to literally buy a movie to rent, they were spending $80-$90 or whatever it was.
That's right.
For the one copy in their store that they were going to rent for whatever, $2 back then or whatever, whatever it was.
That's right. That's right.
So what about you?
I remember seeing I'm Puerto Rican,
There
and
you
my
go.
dad took us to Puerto Rico when I was a kid. I was like 6, and I remember the title, El Imperio Contraataca. And I thought, oh my God, I'm experiencing this film, with, I think it was in English with Spanish subtitles.
Okay.
But it was amazing nonetheless. And also to be in another island, experiencing it with people, watching it with clapping and cheering and the whole thing. You're just like, man, this whole experience was just big. But I remember the intimacy of watching them on VHS and watching them over and over. I wasn't a going to the movies 8 times guy. I was like, man, when I got it at the house, man, that's where I was just in, and I was like, okay.
Did you rewind certain scenes you just rewind it and play it over
man,
and over?
you know what? The most transcendent for me was seeing the face of Darth Vader, seeing Anakin.
Robert Shaw, right? Or not Robert Shaw.
No, it was an unknown actor.
No, it was.
I think you're right. I think it is Robert Shaw.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's not Robert Shaw.
Not Robert Shaw. Something. Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah, he's not known.
No, he was.
They wanted to
known.
get like Laurence Olivier.
They wanted to get Laurence Olivier. Yeah, that was the
man,
original
can you imagine?
talk. Yeah. Well, they thought that would steal from the scene, which I think it would have.
I think so too, because I like
that
this guy was just putting a human face.
Oh my gosh! Yes, absolutely.
On this guy that scared the crap out of me. I was like, man, this is amazing. That was a transcendent moment for me for Return. I was like, man, seeing his face was incredible.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
Yeah.
I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but just to ask the question, is it a little weird for you guys at all as fans of Star Wars that, we do have these sequel movies now. I mean, there was such a wrap-up feeling with Return of the Jedi.
I was going to bring that up because I cried, 13 or whatever.
Yeah.
I cried when I saw the last shot of the whole, family of Star Wars there together. I'm like, I never again.
Yeah.
Never again will this happen.
Yeah.
And they're not franchise-minded studios back then like they are now.
Right.
Now they'll put out, Mike and Dave need wedding dates. And they'll be like, how many Mike and Dave need wedding dates movies can we get out of this?
Right.
So I thought that was it. And so I was all heartbroken when that ended.
Yeah.
What was your question?
Yeah, no, I just was curious if it's weird at all that this is. I mean, I've thought I've thought a lot about with regard to Rise of Skywalker, kind of like, I don't know what this ending is going to be, but I hope that it's going to be epic in many ways, and I hope it's going to draw from all kinds of things. I mean, I picture in my mind maybe some kind of epic battle. Do we see a bunch of Force ghosts? Do we see, what I mean?
Good point.
You're going to go Return of the King on us?
Yeah, I mean, is it going to be really just so crazy and massive? But I kind of feel like it needs that because we've already seen crazy and massive so many times.
Right.
What else? Where else do you go? I don't know.
Well, it's always good to raise your expectations.
Yeah,
because they always get met, so it's going to be fabulous.
That's a reference to The Last Jedi.
There you go. Yeah, good call. So it comes out with a $32 million budget, I believe I read, for Return of the Jedi.
Was that bigger than Empire?
$14 million bigger than Empire.
Wow.
Well, they had a bigger cast though with all the Ewoks alone. That was hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Today would they have CGI'd all those Ewoks?
Oh man.
No, they would have filmed 4 of them again and again and again against green screen and then populated it with
and so that's 309, however, return on that $32 million at the box office.
Not bad.
And a $475 million worldwide. Adjust that to 2019 dollars, and it's $850 million, which is just shy of Empire, actually.
Yeah.
But either way, $800 million puts you usually in the top 20.
Anytime you're close to $1 billion, I feel like you're good.
Yeah.
That's good.
The Billion Club is 3 or 4 movies,
right?
Or have more jumped in there now?
I think more have jumped in.
Yeah,
but
even Joker's made close to $800 million. Now it's like everything can make $800 million when it's
that's really raising the expectations
to
all of the studios in a very terrible way.
Well, yeah, because they made a great film.
Yeah,
Joker was a great film.
Yeah,
and I don't consider it a superhero movie. You know what I mean? It stands alone as far as I'm concerned.
I hope it does. I don't want to see Batman in the same room with that Joker. That is the creepiest, scariest dude in the movies.
I haven't seen it yet, so
I can't imagine. I'm dressed like a bat and fight crime. That doesn't happen. Not this universe. This is like dark.
Yeah,
lights out dark.
Yeah. And anyway, it's just if you make a good film, man, people will come.
That's what they forget.
That's a great point. That's a really great point. Yeah. I also thought it was interesting. So Richard Marquand, who was the director on Return of the Jedi, I always kind of thought was more. He was there to really help with the actors. He was really there to direct the act. He was an actor's director, and because I think there were some issues with this film. I think he had originally wanted Irvin Kershner to come back, but there were issues with the Directors Guild and stuff like that.
He had to pay the fine. He paid the fine.
So there was all of that stuff going on. So
that's why he didn't direct the second one as well, too.
Oh, is that why? Oh, that's interesting.
He was having a big battle with the Directors Guild. That's why he stopped directing. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
And
that makes me sad.
And when we did this, the Ewok movie, they tried to keep it on a down low, but he directed the reshoots.
Oh,
because the other director had a prior commitment, so he couldn't come for the reshoots.
Nice.
So I got directed for a week.
Is this news? Is the DJ going to come after Lucas now? Look what you've done, Eric. Mr. Lucas,
way to go, everybody!
I blow it,
Lucas. We've been tuning in.
We don't listen to the movie, guys, like we do every week.
Yeah,
but I thought it was interesting. I didn't know that Richard Marquand was responsible for why Yoda is in Return of the Jedi. I thought that was really interesting.
Tell us about that, John.
Well, I found some article that basically said that the original script did not have Yoda in it, and Richard Marquand basically came to Lucas and other writer
Kasdan.
Thank you.
Kasdan, yeah.
I should know that. No. Lawrence Kasdan.
Great writer.
And basically,
Larry.
and basically said, I think we should, get Yoda in this, and we need to confirm for kids that Vader is Luke's father, so that they don't go into the movie thinking that Vader's just lying. And I was like, wow, that's
a good point.
And on top of it, I think that's one of the best scenes in the film.
Yeah, that's a solid scene.
Yeah. So, I mean, emotionally, I think it's
like
beautiful.
Empire. It's one of those scenes that is serious and has stakes, but you can still kind of have fun with it.
Yeah.
It's still a doddering old Muppet. You know?
Right.
But then they turn it on you. So, I mean, again, the best moments of Star Wars balance the adult take on real stakes coupled with fun.
Yep.
You can't have just one or the other.
But that makes sense. You're talking about the different people to ground Lucas. I had heard that Marcia Lucas had a lot to do with the way the movies turned out, and she kept, because she's an editor, she kept bringing him back into, because he's so technical. He's such a genius. George Lucas is. His mind works it's so brilliant, but he's in a different world.
Right.
And she was always the force that brought back the humanity. This is how it really happens. This is how real people talk to each other, how they really react. And
interesting.
She brought all that in. And they say that's the reason why the prequels are more the real Star Wars that are really has George Lucas's stamp on them and that are really his movies are the prequels. It's the only time that he had complete 100% control and didn't have. And I don't want everybody to think that, everybody around him were yes men.
Yeah.
But, George Lucas is a daunting figure in the movie industry. So you want to please him. So maybe you're afraid. And I've heard other stories too, even working with other Star Wars actors that were CGI artists who had told me that he had, when they were doing the special editions, he wanted to those dewbacks or whatever they're on
Tatooine.
Tatooine.
Yeah,
he's the guy my friend is the guy that's responsible for that idea, and he brought it up to Lucas, and he got scolded later for bringing it up. Behind, you don't ever present something to him or something like that. So a lot of that stuff really may have been going on around there.
Wow.
So, which is sad because Lucas is a very creative guy.
Yeah.
And he needs to have people around him that are creative. And I just wish for him that he does make those movies he's talked about, wanting to make those avant-garde movies.
Right.
I hope he does it.
Have you heard the stories about what he originally had intended for 7, 8, 9?
I had heard what I had heard that he made everything up as he went along. He didn't have all those ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest part of the truth. But but he did actually instigate episode 7. It was.
Oh, I'm sure at one point, yeah.
And the original story that he had proposed
was a bigger story.
It was a bigger story, and it started to deal more with the wills, which was of course the original title of Star Wars, Luke Starkiller and the Journey of the Wills or something like that.
Correct. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And
great
anyway,
title.
Great
title.
Yeah. And anyway, the wills is this I like microscopic organism, and somehow he was going to essentially, I think, tie the midichlorians, the Force, and the wills all together, which I think to me metaphorically speaks to, like, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and that that whole like
sure.
I mean, and I was talking with somebody today about one of the things we've got to get a payoff on.
Right.
I'm hoping for a payoff on is, in the prequels, in Phantom Menace, one of the greatest things he sets up, and this is where I think Lucas is, as a story writer is great, but as a screenwriter, there's something missing. Mm-hmm. He writes this storyline that Anakin Skywalker is basically, an immaculate conception.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what a great idea. But it's kind of like Immaculate Conception, and then they have this like scene with her and Qui-Gon, and then nothing. Nobody ever talks about it again. No, I mean, there's maybe a slight reference to it in Revenge of the Sith when he's talking about Plagueis making the midichlorians do what he wants, a form of life, and maybe you're thinking that's a reference to that and all that stuff. But I'm hoping that there's some kind of payoff
I've
to
heard that there might be, but we'll see. The rumor mill, right?
The rumor mill, yeah.
I hope so. I hope they do.
It's going to be like 2.5 hours of payoffs.
Can I tell you,
if they're playing it right, because they got a lot to cover.
When I heard about the runtime, I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed.
I was too, because I had heard through the rumor, through the grapevine, was at one point they were considering making it 2 movies. It was so long.
They're gonna pull a Harry Potter.
Well, I got to tell you, I was on board for a 3-hour movie.
Yeah,
even 3.5. And I got to tell you, also, you can sustain that. Endgame.
Sure you can.
Endgame was how long?
Never a dull moment. 3 hours and 2 minutes.
3 hours and 2 minutes.
You can. Yeah,
I remember at the end of Endgame going, that was so entertaining. I could have stayed.
Yeah,
I could have stayed.
It didn't feel like 3 hours. You're
no,
right.
I mean the first Lord of the Rings movie, which I'm not a huge fan of that storyline. I like the story, but it just I don't know. I didn't love it. Whatever, it's fine, it's great. But I watched that first movie and I remember going, oh, it's over. I mean, that's how much it sustained itself for me. It was a long film, So I'm a little disappointed that it's not going to be 3 hours because I could totally just like say, okay.
You wonder what they cut out.
Yeah.
But but they got to consider run times, and they got to. They're trying to make their.
They're trying to fill the seats, so it's still it's the longest Star Wars movie still to date.
Yeah.
So
is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's longer than The Last Jedi. It's 2 hours and. How long did they say it was?
It's like 20-something, yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost
it's up there.
Yeah, it's up there. Like 155 minutes, I think.
Back to the story of Return of the Jedi, because you mentioned your favorite moment is seeing Darth Vader's face behind the mask. Mine is just the payoff on Luke Skywalker's arc.
Oh, yeah.
So,
like
there's great payoff for Luke Skywalker's arc and for Mark Hamill's arc. Because he gets a lot of flack for go to Tashi Station, pick up some power converters. Of course he does. He's a young boy with no experience in the universe.
Right.
But man, he comes on the scene in Jabba's palace in the hood, and he's full Jedi. You're like, this is great. And then when he carries it through the whole film, and you're like, this is so. It was just so great. And of course, it always holds my theory as well that Jedis dress all in black, not in Tatooine robes. Anyway.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because, I had also read that originally Return of the Jedi was supposed to be much darker. And there was talk that in the original story was Luke, essentially kills Darth Vader and becomes the new Darth Vader. And if you watch the movie, when at the very end, like near the very end, when he renounces, like he's like, I've become a Jedi, and he renounces, just kind of throws the lightsaber on the ground, like I don't need to fight anymore, I don't need to prove anything, this is who I am. It was a really cool shift that they did that because he really was going down kind of a dark path. I mean, in the very opening of the film, he kills the Grimorian guard by choking him.
Right.
That isn't necessarily something that I think we would see a Jedi do, like someone choking someone like that.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. It harkens to the title, the original title, Revenge of the Jedi.
Yeah.
This is coming on,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's no turning back now.
I just love watching him, kick ass on Endor and be a total stud in the final moments of the film with. I mean, that's my favorite part of the movie is the lightsaber battle at the end.
Oh, yeah. It is the greatest. And that piece of score is one of the most moving pieces.
Can we talk about John Williams?
Absolutely.
Do we not? Every episode
we
of our show.
We do.
Yes,
well,
we do.
I mean, because he, his music makes these movies. I mean, these movies would not be what they are without his epic scores.
I feel like it's the unseen force. The force that we don't see
played.
is
that binds the galaxy together.
But that music is what binds the whole image and the.
But there's actually little
feeling.
MIDI-chlorians that no.
Don't explain it.
Coming out.
Don't explain it.
There's a little violin is just very tiny.
But isn't John Williams the most consistent thing in Star Wars for sure?
Absolutely.
Somebody I saw that on Facebook. Some other Star Wars fan, was talking about John Williams, and he and they said in essence he's the only one that's never let us down in Star Wars.
Oh wow! I will say that when I saw Force Awakens, and when I saw Force Awakens the first time, I had a visceral experience. Like I was so excited about seeing this film. I could not wait. I really wanted to see what Disney was going to do with it. And I love J.J. Abrams. I mean, there was so much going on for this film for me. But the one thing that stood out to me was the music because it was all themes I had never heard. For the most part, until
like
except for the Jedi and all that stuff. But all the pieces,
he's still got it in him.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, there's so much that was new, and I remember thinking
Rey's theme is great. Yeah.
Well, I think Rey's theme is one of the most beautiful pieces he's ever written.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to kind of get used to it because I went into the movie sort of expecting a little bit of our classic stuff coming up, and I was like, I don't know what this is, so I had to kind of adjust myself. But I had such a great experience with Force Awakens. We're not talking about that, but
we did.
And that Anakin and Amidala or Padme, whatever theme is far superior. Like, overplays the quality of their relationship. Like, it's better.
Right.
That theme's better than their relationship deserves.
Yeah,
right.
John Williams did it in everything, even the prequels. Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates was.
I mean, and every movie he wrote something new, something that was great. So.
I actually think the score to Attack of the Clones is one of the most beautiful ones. I still like that movie.
I agree.
Some people don't, but I love that movie.
The music, I agree.
Yeah. You have a note in here. Can I steal it?
Sure.
Harrison Ford is phoning this one in a lot of the time. Explain, please.
Yeah, it's just a note. I mean, you can see he's kind of going, I don't think that helped us very much. He's just not. I don't think he's into it. Like he was in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
But that's what I heard. I heard that he actually wanted to be killed off in Empire.
Yes.
And now was coming back, and it kind of feels like, well, if there's going to be a phone-in moment, this might be it, because,
And not the entire movies. You're having fun here and there.
Yeah.
But there are stretches where you're like,
Yeah. But
I love him. Favorite actor of all time. But
I think you're right. I think he admitted he was phoning it in. We did go on the talk shows. He'd talk about, I did it for the money, and, because they let me, because he got killed. So, like you said. So,
right.
And also probably to be around friends again, like Peter Mayhew, to work with, his good buddy. So I think he wanted to work with people again. Yeah. Too bad they couldn't get Mark and Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, and all of them in one scene.
In the Falcon.
Yeah, right?
But what are you going to do?
They lost that opportunity. Okay, so.
I did like the I Love You, I Know callback on Endor. I thought that was cool.
Special effects-wise.
Yes.
We talked about it with Empire. I think Empire has the best special effects of certainly the original trilogy.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm gonna go right to Jabba. I thought Jabba was incredible.
Jabba is incredible.
The bass in his voice and the sound was incredible. And I remember they're on PBS in Chicago on Channel 11 WTTW. They had this behind the scenes kind of thing about Return of the Jedi. And my brother and I recorded. I have a twin brother, and we were our Star Wars freaks, man. We were like down playing with our toys, and we were so into it. But we recorded this thing off of PBS, and it was all behind the scenes. So talk about movie making, beginnings of love, of figuring out how stuff works.
Right.
And I remember they were talking about the inside of Jabba and how the puppeteers had to kind of do their thing. And
it was like 5 of them or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And there was a little person who was doing the...
Mike Edmonds. Yeah.
Yes.
He played Logray in the Ewok movie.
I'll never forget. He's moving the tail, and he's like, we got him backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, and just being a kid, like taking in how you create something that when you saw it on film, you don't question it. You're just like, wow, and then you learn how it happens and the amazing things that they were able to do.
Well played on that. I don't give that enough credit. That really does deserve a lot of credit.
Good,
yeah, the Jabba stuff was great.
But I agree with you. The effects overall were better in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
I just think give that one out of the 3. I would give that one a nod.
Yeah,
I think they saw the puppet in Yoda worked, and they said, "Oh, more of that." So you get your Salacious Crumb, and you get the Jabba's band, and you get a whole bunch of other puppets, including a 6-person operated, Jabba the Hutt.
The special edition, with that song and the girl is like, you just didn't need that. The song that was already there to me was great. I also hate that they got rid of the Yub Nub song.
Yub song.
The Yub Nub song was great, and then they replaced it with jazz.
Right.
Jedi
Space
Rock
Jazz.
or something they called it.
Well, the old saying, he likes to, cram it in a shot. Lucas, he likes to try to get every single thing he can in there. In fact, there's some sort of picture online where it shows how the ILM crew actually put the kitchen sink in one of those shots or whatever, just to tease them.
That's brilliant.
But they're all you got to have fun like that. So also in the Caravan of Courage, Winnie the Pooh is in one of the trees shots too. So,
what?
Yeah, so that's trivia.
Awesome.
What was your interaction with him, with Lucas?
He was a very quiet, reserved man. It was hard to understand him because he kind of mumbled. He spoke very softly, and it was like, he's very soft. And he reminded me of my dad, actually, because growing up, my dad was very soft-spoken. He never raised his voice. It was hard to hear him. So he just, he was and I probably should have been, a little bit more respectful and said, "Hi, Mr. Lucas," instead of calling him George, But I was a cocky teenager, so.
Maybe that was okay. Maybe that was okay.
I don't, well, now after that, he's had kids, so he knows how we are, so.
Yeah.
Do you see him since the film?
I have not seen him since, the 80s.
Yeah.
And the last time I spoke to anybody at Lucasfilm would have been in the 90s, probably. So...
They don't make it out to these fan fests and other things.
No.
But you see all the other actors.
Oh yeah. Well, I do the convention circuit. Not that much because I'm busy doing my other stuff. I do music, so I compose now.
Oh wow.
We're gonna play a song here.
Nice.
So so that's I see them at conventions that I do from time to time, and it's great. The interactions. Boy, if I could write a whole book about some of the stuff that the Star Wars actors do, but I'll keep it to myself. But some of it's some pretty talk about salacious crumb. Some of that stuff's some pretty salacious stuff. That the one time I went out to the Dollhouse District in Hamburg with Darth Vader and his son. That could create a whole book. So
David Prowse.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So and it was a great experience. I go, wow. I wish my dad took me to a stripper bar. So
how funny.
When in Germany.
Well,
When in Germany.
David Prowse aside, were you mentored by anybody? Were there any people who gave you advice, or not just in the film, but perhaps how to navigate a career in this phenomenon that is Star Wars?
No, nobody. Nobody gave me advice.
You're on your own, pal.
There some of them that's their career defining moment as well.
Right.
I mean, there have been people that were mentors in my life, sure, but not that I acted with. Like I had an acting coach who taught me, everything I know about acting, and he used to be friends with Marlon Brando, Paul Newman, Dennis Hopper. He helped Dennis Hopper make Easy Rider.
Wow.
And Jack Nicholson.
Who is
all
that?
of them. His name is Virgil Fry. Is his name?
Oh, okay.
And he was always that guy behind the scenes that never. He was a character actor, and he would always get these roles, but he never made it. Became a big name. Mm-hmm. But his daughter became pretty famous because she was Punky Brewster. She was Soleil Moon Frye.
Soleil, yeah.
Her dad taught me everything I knew about acting and managed me for a little bit. And
you grew up here, right?
I grew up in Sherman Oaks, and I grew up in the Valley, so I was a native of Southern California. I was here when there was a rush hour,
Right.
Hence the name Rush Hour.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now it's traffic all the time.
Just hour. It's just
But
rush.
we're not going to go back to Germany. But I've had great experiences with other Star Wars actors, and
well, you hear about like Richard Donner supposedly with the Goonies, like Corey Feldman. He paid for Corey Feldman's rehab. And paid for
I didn't hear that. Okay, cool.
No, I went to
Who paid for your rehab?
Yeah, who paid for your
I never had that issue.
I'm kidding you.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you go ahead? Because I'm gonna make George Lucas pay for your.
There you
rehab.
go. There you go.
Right?
You got a couple of bucks.
It gets really bad.
Yeah.
I am curious in terms of the convention circuit and all of that. Do you guys help each other? Do you talk to each other and like, hey, I'm doing this. You should look at this, or is there kind of a network to help each other, or is it kind of like, hey, buddy, you're on your own?
No, it's not that we're on our own. We do talk from time to time, and we ask, people, how was this convention? How was that convention?
Oh, okay.
And there's actually agents for actors, appearance agents.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
I've
been in touch with a few of them
that do that, yeah.
to get talent for events.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and I do have an appearance, someone who has gotten me at a few of them, but for the most part, they reach out to me directly through my website.
Interesting.
So,
And right now you have a campaign going to get the Ewok movies on Disney Plus.
Yes.
Because currently they're not scheduled to be.
they're not. And I'll tell you how I know they're not scheduled to be on Disney Plus, because Disney did, in their infinite wisdom, they rather than just do a small trial, because they have to beta test, the new system, they chose a country. They chose Holland to do that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And because Holland has 98% internet connection, it's a great place to do the testing. And also, they don't have to worry about all the contractual things, because Holland, apparently, the laws are very different there. And they don't have to go and make sure they could clear this movie or that movie.
Oh,
they could pretty much just put everything on there and test it.
Wow.
And because I had some people say, why maybe your movie couldn't be released in Holland. No, that's not true. Because Disney owns everything that Lucas owned anyway. They've even bought Fox now, So, and the Caravan of Courage was released by 20th Century Fox overseas, so they own Fox as well. So, and I was in touch with the gentleman. I have fans in Holland, and they have the service, and they're not on there. None of the Ewok movies are on there. The Droids cartoon series is not on there as well.
Oh man,
the C-3PO
nice
droids.
Bring back out
that's
So are the Ewok cartoon as well is not on there.
Right.
None of the Indiana Jones movies are on there as well. So
okay, now you sure they don't just have a partial?
Is that because they're currently licensed by Amazon and Netflix right now?
The Indiana Jones movies?
Yeah,
they are on Netflix.
That I could believe.
Yeah.
And not only that, but technically they had another big company that owned the distribution rights, Paramount. So Disney doesn't own Paramount. So I could see that. But I don't. Yeah, thank you for bringing this up. I started a petition to try to get them to release the Ewok movies on Disney Plus.
Oh, wow.
And it's been up there for a few weeks now, and it just passed 1,000 signatures. So
good.
That's
so
awesome.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Go to your.
Where do we go? Where do we go?
Yeah. Well, you could go to ericwalkermusic.com, or you could go. My new venture is All for Sci-Fi. The petition's on there as well. But it's on change.org if you want to go directly and just type in petition to have the Ewok movies on Disney Plus.
I feel like good.
Where else can you see them now?
Right.
Actually, they just released them on Amazon.
Oh, no kidding.
Did they?
Yeah, so you could rent them and either rent them, rental or download. So they are on Amazon. So if they're on Amazon, why can't they be on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's why.
Maybe.
You know.
Maybe.
But
that's why.
who would have thought? Why would you put it there when you know you have Disney Plus coming out a couple months later?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. All I know is that Kathleen Kennedy said at D23 Disney Plus Disney Expo. Are you familiar with that?
Oh yeah.
When she did the panel there, she said that Disney Plus is going to be the home to all of Star Wars. So if the Ewok movies are part of Star Wars, why aren't they there? Why aren't the Droids cartoon series there? It's not just the Ewok movies.
Why is the holiday special?
Well, the holiday special, I could see why they wouldn't want that there.
I actually think too they should make a conduit for fan films on Disney Plus for Star Wars fan films, and I think that they should look into, and we've talked about this before on the show.
Right.
Some of the fan films.
I think I agree with that.
Magnificent.
They are
and I always
great.
talk about Maul Apprentice. I don't know if you've seen that one. But
seen a lot of them. They're very good.
Darth Maul Apprentice, to me, is one of the greatest of all of the ones I've seen.
Nice.
And I mean, the acting's great. You could tell that these guys are really filmmakers. They really cared. I mean, they did and they even shot a behind the scenes that's like magnificent. And you watch it and you're like, these guys care. I think they should. I think Disney would be smart to just be like, yeah, let's pay for these and let's license them and let's pay these filmmakers.
Well,
why would you not?
But they're putting, and it's a good idea. But they're also, and they definitely they could definitely pay them to do it.
Yeah,
the streaming service needs content, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, but they're putting things like web shorts up there, like the Forces of Destiny. Have you seen any of those?
Yeah,
web
those
shorts?
are little, more geared towards the littler kids, right?
Yeah, but they're like web shows.
Yeah,
cartoons.
right.
Yeah.
They're on there.
Wait, is
all
the Forces
Lego
of Destiny the one that looks?
It's a cartoon one, like you're talking about.
But is that the one that looks more like anime?
It might be. I don't know what your definition of anime
is.
There's
Forces of Destiny, which is on Disney Channel. There's these little shorts that they've been playing on Disney Channel.
I don't know. I don't know.
And then there's another bunch of short pieces that are being done that look more like anime, and I see them mostly on the internet. And they're basically scenes from the original Star Wars movies.
No, this is different. This is the Forces.
Okay, so this is original content.
It's original content, but
Got
not
it.
only that, but they're bringing back stuff from the Ewok movies. Like they had the Gorax in one of them.
Right.
And which the Gorax is in the giant in the Ewok
Right.
movie. And they had and not only the web shorts they're putting up there. When she said home of all of Star Wars, they put every Lego Star Wars thing up there too.
Wow.
So I mean, if you could have the Lego Star Wars specials up there, why can't you have the Ewok movies?
I mean,
That's
I
all
feel
I'm
like
saying.
you should have it all up there.
Everything, yes.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, and even the holiday special should go up there.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Part of the pack.
Part of the
It is.
family.
Part of the
That's
Come
where
on
we got
now.
Boba Fett, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
By the way, I haven't asked this question. Anybody watching Star Wars Resistance?
I do watch it. Yeah, I watched
What do you
first
think?
season. I like it. I think it's a good show.
I love the animation
Yeah.
because I was an anime fan when I was a kid.
Right.
And Star Wars Resistance is beautifully animated. I'm not so sure I love the story, but I do love the animation.
Right.
Yeah.
This is its last season, right? This year,
I think so, yeah.
Every one of the cartoons, by the way, for me, the sound design is what brings me in every time. I don't care what it looks like. When you hear the sounds, you come on. You turn on this lightsaber earlier, and I'm like, oh my god.
Well, we've talked about Ben Burt a lot on this show and how much we respect him and love Ben Burt. And just like John Williams, I think Ben Burt is absolutely responsible for what we know as Star Wars.
Wow.
You know, what that universe is.
Yeah, so go sign a petition, everybody. I'd appreciate it. Although I'm gonna probably do some sort of press release in the next week, or so, and then I'm gonna see if it get picked up by any of the media channels.
Nice.
I'm gonna contact the local news and Hollywood Reporter and stuff like that,
right,
and do an actual official press release. That I at that point I'll say how many signatures I have. And then I want to try to do a thing where I go and present them to Kathleen Kennedy if I could. I don't want to scare her or anything like that, but I'd like to go up there and present it to him. I probably won't get in the front door though. So
yeah, well, hey man,
hey, it's
still
a different
put it
world,
out there.
You know.
Yeah.
You make enough noise online.
That's it.
That's right.
Paying attention now. I mean, Weezer recorded Africa, right?
That's
Thank you.
There you go.
There was so much demand.
There is hope.
That.
Granted, they screwed with the guy and recorded Rosanna first, but still, they eventually recorded Africa. If you make enough noise, then that could happen.
Nice.
All right.
You could call this A New Hope.
Any other thoughts on Return of the Jedi? I mean, I think it's the original trilogy is
How do you
jam,
guys feel about what they've done with it? Do you think the Ewoks look better with the blinking eyelids, or?
I didn't even realize that was a thing.
Is that a special edition?
Had no idea.
They just on the newer versions.
Thank
the
you for
Ewoks-
bringing that up. Wow.
Wait, is it since the '97 special editions?
Yeah, it's the recent one, the very recent one, the Blu-ray one.
Oh, I haven't seen the Blu-ray.
The new one, yeah.
Yeah, I have not seen that. I'll have to see that.
Yeah, they blink. Their eyelids blink now.
I never even noticed one way or the other.
Right.
And so to me, I know in the original thing, it's like the Ewoks were originally supposed to be Wookiees. And I remember with the first time I heard that, it kind of made me I would have loved to have seen the Wookiees. I mean, I think there was something sweet and fun about the Ewok moments, and
sure.
The way they interacted, and I love the scene with Princess Leia and the Ewok and all that stuff.
Wicket, yeah.
Wicket, yeah. I mean, it's beautiful, but there is another part of me that's it would have been really interesting to see the Wookiees,
And I believe a lot of stuff that happens in Star Wars is magical. It just kind of magically happens.
Yep.
And you're an actor too, right?
Yeah.
So there's this moments when you're so into character that you really feel like you're there, and things happen. In Jedi, Warwick wasn't supposed to be Wicket.
Yes, I know that.
It was Kenny Baker, and he got sick. So because he got sick, Warwick got to do it, and he got a career.
He got sick. He got a career.
37 years.
Hey, we're doing a movie called Willow.
Yeah,
man.
Well, before that, he was supposed to do Howard the Duck, but the person who was doing they spent $3 million on the head, and they didn't think to measure Warwick to see if it fit. So that's why he wasn't Howard the Duck, and he was so bummed out about it that's why Lucas created Willow.
Door swings both ways.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, that is number 8. Movie number 8.
Yeah.
Countdown to 9. We're just as screwy as
So
the damn chapters and episodes in this thing.
So confused.
And
we were talking about the Ewok movies and where they are
where
in
do
line.
They fall? Is it 8.5?
Well, when we were making the movies, Warwick Davis and I did a behind-the-scenes making of. They rented us cameras for a school project, so we were doing the making of. We interviewed the producer, and he said that they take place about 150 years after Return of the Jedi. And he talked about how Wicket was a teenager, but he's about 200 years old. But he's a teenager.
Holy moly,
and
that's
Ewoks
awesome.
live a lot longer. So
wow.
And one of these days, maybe we could get that video up there so people to see it. But what happened later was an expanded universe book was written by it's called something Twist, and he puts my sister Sindel Tawani. He puts her character as an adult on Coruscant. She becomes a reporter. So he puts her in, and he moved it. So according to The new timeline, now they're not 150 years after, which makes sense, right? Because that's why the Ewoks could understand us a little bit, because they know basic.
Right.
Makes sense that they're not scared of us, right? He put it in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. He puts it at 3 Abbey. So he moved it. So who knows? I'm with it being after. I'm with it being 150 years after.
It definitely seemed like it was after Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
In fact, and he actually talks about this in interviews too. If you go, do you remember they had a thing called Bantha Tracks?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
If you go, you could find an old Bantha Tracks where he's talking about they interview the producer, and he talks about how when that Wicket and the Sindel are playing with a small ATT, and you could see it. It looks like one, and they purposely made it look like one.
Interesting.
So it's in the scene where they're talking about the Star Cruiser crash or whatever, you know.
Right.
That scene. So
that's just ongoing disrespect, because I think I remember you posting a photo at D23. They finally released a grand timeline of the Star Wars universe, because they had announced this Kenobi and they announced the Mandalorian, and so you got to see where they all fit in. And you took a marker, I think, and wrote Battle of Endor, and with an arrow, like where that would happen. Because they still didn't include those.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I know he made these movies for his daughter because she loved the Ewoks, Amanda, and that's a great thing. He's a great dad,
that's sweet.
you know.
But he clearly doesn't love her anymore. All right, so that's not true.
No, he loves her. Of course he does.
All right, so they're come back in a couple of weeks. Don't forget, the last show of our run will post about 5 days before Episode 9 hits theaters. Once again, I'm Paul Preston.
I'm Sean Blodgett.
And thanks to Eric Walker and Daniel Betances.
Yes.
Hey, there they are.
All right.
Hey,
yeah.
I do want to say one thing,
Please.
guys. Revenge of the Sith, I do have a connection. I booked a movie
Revenge
called
of the Sith.
Yes.
Okay.
I booked a movie called Open Window, directed by Mia Goldman back in the day, and she hired me to play basketball with these guys and have kind of an issue with one of the guys with the lead character, one of the leads. So that guy happened to be Joel Edgerton.
Oh,
so
I'll watch anything that guy does.
So we're playing basketball, and I have to give him an elbow or whatever, and we're fighting on the court. Well, one of the buddies he brings in to play basketball with us is Ahmed Best.
There you go.
Jar Jar.
Wow.
So I got to meet Jar Jar Binks and then Uncle Owen. You know?
We've talked a lot about Ahmad Best because we had Christian Simpson on the show who worked with Ahmad.
Yeah.
And how great of a performer he is. And, we
Yes.
have utmost respect for him and what he did. And unfortunate landing of receipt of Jar Jar Binks to the Star Wars universe. And, there's a lot to say about that. We've said most of it. So,
I will say this, though. I think a lot of times performers take a lot of bad rap for, it has nothing to do with the performance.
No, they just show up and do the job.
I mean, to be honest, and do it to the best of their ability,
Right.
And we were talking earlier kind of about how genius needs help.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just let George do his thing. He's better when he's being watched and when things are. And I think editors are the unspoken heroes of every film, because what you end up seeing and what you end up appreciating is because of their hard work at cutting and splicing and making music out of all of these notes. So anyway,
speaking of music, we didn't get to hear his music.
Not yet. We're going to go out on it.
All right. Oh,
all right.
But first, I'm glad you jumped in to tie yourself into the Star Wars universe.
Great.
Eric here is directly embedded into Endor. We needed to work you out.
In it, exactly. So, and with the basketball, I'm connected.
Boom,
there you go. There you go.
Boom,
and by the way, Virginia on Facebook says she loves Open Window. By the way, so she says
very good.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I got to watch it. I will literally watch anything with Joel Edgerton. The guy's awesome.
Oh yeah.
You'll watch anything that's a movie.
Great dramatic piece.
His acting, his directing.
Yep.
The guy doesn't end up in like hack production. So I think
awesome.
big fan of his. And so plugs then, Dan, where people follow and all
You
that?
know what? I was just telling Sean. I said, man, I'm gonna be the only guest. I'm plugging nothing. I'm plugging.
Wait, social. Come on, social media.
You can catch me on Facebook for sure. I got
Daniel Betances.
Daniel Betances, yeah.
You don't do Twitch and TikTok and Yak a Snack or whatever the hell.
What is Hacky Sack?
Hacky Sack.
I made that one up, or did I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Nice.
Eric. We'll go to change.org.
Okay, yeah. And my music's, I have a official website, ericwalkermusic.com.
Beautiful.
And I have 3 albums that I've already done. The last one I was up for a Grammy, and for Best New Age Album. And
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm working on my 4th album. I have a concept album that I'm doing where it's going to be very different. I'm actually writing a sci-fi novel, but it's going to be have a CD that comes with it. So as you read each chapter, you'll hear the music that comes with it.
Great idea.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Great
Beautiful.
idea.
So and you're going to play my Star Wars theme song.
Yes, Dare to Dream in a Galaxy Far, Far Away.
Yes.
Nice. This is a fun, upbeat
dance tune. Yeah.
Bring it.
In the meantime, you can follow us on Facebook.com/CountdownTo9, at CountdownTo9 on Twitter and Instagram. Of course, you can get the show at YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and themovieguys.net. Join us on the next show where we'll be creeping into what some are calling the Disney Star Wars movies. Discuss The Force Awakens. And here's Eric and his song. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Light
guys.
him up.
Yeah.
Lightsaber. Light him up.
Lightsaber.
Feel the rhythm and
Oh, yeah.
Dare to dream in a galaxy far, far away.
Thank you.